Hello, students. All right, I'm so excited to be kicking off Psychology of Learning. This is a special greeting for those of you taking Spring 2 2020, this class with me. And so I'm hoping with this little video to kind of walk you through what is this course, who am I, what is this topic, and what are the basic things about the course that you should know. So I'll just start off with that first question of who am I? If I can get it going, there we go. My name is Dr. Curtis Lehman. I am an associate professor in the Department of Psychology, so I'm here with the department full time. And I'm actually a licensed psychologist, so I am trained as a clinical psychologist or a therapist, and one of my passions is actually working with people, helping them through depression, anxiety, addiction, problems like that. And so my background, my education, I got a PhD in clinical psychology, as well as a Master of Arts in Christian Leadership from Fuller Seminary, which is out in Pasadena. And actually, I don't have it up there, but my undergraduate degree was from UC Irvine. So I'm an anteater, Ripley meters. And you can see here, this is my beautiful family. That's my wife and kids. And those are some pictures from our trip to Cabo San Lucas this past summer. And we had a great time there. We're celebrating our 10-year anniversary, actually. And so, I just want to say, like, I hope that you guys get to know me over the course of this term, because, that's part of the learning process. And so I hope you feel a connection, that I'm not just a face on a screen, but I'm, of course, someone who's here, present, really trying to engage you in this whole learning process, but also available as a support to you if you are having any struggles or difficulties or any kind of challenges with the course. So, all right, so let me transition here and start off with this question. What do you expect to learn in a class about learning? And I think having taught this class a number of times, I find that a lot of students come in and they're not really sure. They're not sure, is this going to be a class about how to learn in a classroom setting, how to learn from reading a textbook? And when people think about learning, that's usually what they think about. They think of classroom settings. But actually, this class is a lot broader than that. I'll talk about this a little bit later, but learning, the way we define learning, it is any type of behavior change as a result of interaction with the environment. So it's not just, it does include, experiences of changing the way you act because you take a class, but it also involves things like learning how to type on a keyboard, learning how to interact socially. It includes learning how to manage your emotions, learning how to drive a car. So it's pretty broad. Like, if you think about all the things, all the ways that we change over the course of our lives, that's what learning entails. And so this is not so much about, this is not so much about learning how to learn in a classroom setting. That's a field of study called pedagogy, which is a fancy way of saying teaching. Some of the stuff we learn in this class will be relevant to teaching processes and education, but it is really trying to understand it more broadly. So what this course is, it's an overview of learning theories and the research and their implications for yes, education. But I'm actually more interested as a clinical psychologist, as a therapist, in the question, how do these apply to clinical practice? How do we help people using these theories with problems like phobias, addiction, gambling, all the different things that people deal with, even things like PTSD and anxiety. And so it's really for me, what is this course all about? It's about helping people. It's about equipping you students with some basic research and theories that will be building blocks for clinical work and even for your own daily life to understand, why do I act the way that I do? And it will be, so I like to orient this class around the idea of helping people, that this class is a way, it's a knowledge base that will help you help others and help you help yourself even. So having said that, we'll jump into the material a little bit more in the chapter 1 video, but I'd like to just kind of walk you through the course itself, help you understand what does this course entail. So first off, the textbook. The textbook, I've got it right here. It is Theories of Human Learning, and it's written by Guy Lefrançois. This is the 6th edition. If you look online, you'll actually find that there was a 7th edition released recently in December 2019. I have that textbook. I looked it over, but I didn't feel like it was a substantial enough update to ask you guys to pay the higher cost for the textbook. So I am not requiring it. You're welcome to purchase it. It will be very similar to our current textbook, the 6th edition, but you don't have to buy that. This 6th edition is our standard. And to explain it a little bit, it's an unusual textbook because it's Theories of Human Learning, what the professor said, and it's actually a sort of a fictional dialogue between the author and what he terms as the professor. He is having this dialogue where the professor is explaining theories of human learning, talking about ideas that might be relevant. In previous versions of the textbook, he actually had the conversation not with the professor, but with an alien. In others, it was an old woman, an old man, and it's a little, just a fair warning, it's a little unusual, a little funky to be honest, but I think it makes the reading a little bit more. I think you'll find yourself maybe laughing at the author and his quirks as you go through the material. So each week, right, there's 8 weeks. We're going to go through 10 chapters. We're going to skip chapter 8, and we're going to go through 1 through 11. And each week there's going to be a chapter reading. So most weeks that's going to be just 1 chapter, but 2 weeks in the term, we're going to go through 2 chapters in 1 week. And alongside the reading, we're going to have chapter quizzes. And there's going to be 10 quizzes, 1 for each chapter. So again, usually 1 quiz per week, but occasionally 2. And they're going to be 15 points each. So these will be from largely from the textbook, somewhat from these videos, these lectures that I'll provide for each chapter. And I want to reassure you, so when you hear quizzes, you might get a little nervous, and that might seem like a lot of work, but these are all open book, open note. So you can, when you're working through it, I expect you to have your book open and be leafing through it, trying to find the material. So it's not really about necessarily memorization of the material at this point. It's just familiarizing yourself with it. Getting acquainted with the textbook, just sort of, keeping you accountable for the material. And so, again, we have 10 of those chapter quizzes, and then we have actually 2 assignments, 2 papers for this class. One of them is, I call it the personal improvement paper, and it's 3.5 to 4.5 pages, and really it's just applying learning theory to your own life. So it's identifying a problem that you have in your life that you're willing to share about, willing to analyze, and trying to think about how learning theory helps you understand the cause of that problem and how it can help you understand a way to change that problem in your life, to overcome that problem. And I feel like that's a fun paper to sort of engage in your own personal growth. The second one, is the clinical implications paper. So this one is applying learning theory to a clinical problem such as major depressive disorder, autism, ADHD, Alzheimer's disease, and there's a couple others that you can write on. And there's two parts. There's an outline, which I think it is due in the 6th week, and then the paper itself, which is due in the 8th week. The paper will be 5 to 7 pages, and what you're going to do is you're going to talk about the diagnosis itself. Make sure you do a lot of reading to understand the diagnosis, but then also look at how does learning theory, sort of the behaviorism and cognitive psychology, the motivational understandings, the memory things, how do those areas of research inform our understanding of the disorder, and how do those help us with treatment? And so I'll give you more information about that in the future, but just wanted to give you a heads up on that. And then lastly, the main thing for this class is to do 2 weekly discussions. So each week you're going to have 2 discussions. One's going to be on the chapter content, and then another is going to be faith integration related to the chapter content, but getting you to think about how does this have implications for spirituality. And on that second point, I have no expectation that you yourself are a Christian. As a university, we are welcoming of people of all faiths and no faith, but I want to challenge you to think about how this material could apply to Christian faith, because all of you, if you go into clinical work, or if you interact with Christians, which I assume what is going to happen, there's going to be some relevance to this material to spirituality. And so I think it's valuable, regardless of where you are, in regards to thinking about some difficult faith integration questions. And each of those discussions will be worth up to 15 points. So there's essentially 2 aspects of it. You're going to provide a response, you're going to post, and that will be due Wednesday of each week. And then by Sunday, you're going to respond to 2 other students' posts. And so you're gonna on Canvas, it gives directions for this. There's an acronym for a great response. So you want to have a substantial response to the initial post, the initial question, but then also a great response to your peers, their posts, and you get to engage some of their ideas and see if you can critically think about what they're suggesting. And so again, there's usually about 3 assignments each week, 2 discussion forums, there's a quiz, and sometimes there's an assignment, a paper that will be due. And then finally, the last week, I don't have it up here, but there is a final exam. The final exam will be multiple choice, short answer, and essay response. For that one, that will actually not be open book. I will give you guys a study guide so you can prepare for it. You can know exactly what's going to be on it. With my study guides, I like to direct you exactly to the content. It's not going to be small, trivial content. It will be things that are relevant to your practice and careers and things like that. And hopefully that'll be a good chance for you to kind of consolidate everything you've learned over the course of this term, so that you can review it and come to a better understanding of it. So again, I understand that sometimes it's a lot to take in. So I encourage you guys, if you have any questions, reach out to me. I do have office hours. I have it posted on the syllabus. It's Mondays from 1 to 2:30, Thursdays from 11:30 to 1, and then Wednesdays I have 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. And I'm imagining that most of you will probably many of you work full time, and so I imagine that 9 to 10 time slot will be maybe a little bit more accessible to some of you. But I also want to let you guys know that those are not the only times I'm available. I do want to be available to you. I can't quite carve out a ton of time for every week making myself available. That's what those office hours are do. But what I can do is on a case-by-case basis, if you email me, if you set up a meeting, I can carve out some time in my evenings or in daytime, whatever is most convenient to you. I will do my best to try to make myself accessible so that you guys can succeed in this course. That is an important thing for me. I want that for you. All right. So again, if you have any questions, reach out. But otherwise, good luck with the course, and we'll be seeing each other. Okay. Take care. Bye.